Hey there, this is Chip. Alan will be joining me in a couple minutes, and we will kick off. Everybody will give it, looks like one person on.
Mm-hmm. Give another sec.
Yeah. Hey there, we're going to unmute you and see if anyone else is on.
Looks like Janelle maybe just joined.
Can you guys hear us?
Unmute.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. Audio view. Got it. All right. Then it looks like Janelle just joined us. Janelle, let us know when you're good to go, and we will dive in. I just unmuted you. Let me know if that works. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. Yep. Got it. Are you good to go on your side?
Almost. I was slacking you. Do you know, are we recording these sessions by chance?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
If you want us to
Awesome.
wait another minute for some more of your team to come in, we can. We got done early on the last one.
We're just not going to be able to get everybody because we have to keep some people for the queue.
Absolutely.
So I'll probably pull in a couple.
Yeah.
Just give me a couple, and then the
Okay.
rest will sit down. So yeah, just a minute.
All right. No problem.
Because we had the last session, we had a bunch of people in here and tried to squeeze them in because they leave at 2, and
Right.
so
Right.
now they're leaving, and we're like, oh wait, that's not going to work.
Yeah. No. Answering the queues is super important. So be happy to wait another couple minutes, and then it is being recorded.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll give it 2 or 3 more, and then we'll dive in, and people can join if they want to go through.
Sounds good. I'm just going to go pop my head out there. I'll be right back. All right, I think we are ready to get started.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. So thank you all for joining. It's Chip. Alan's here with me. As we talked about at the Boomtown Hall, a lot of thought has gone in this year to updating our messaging to the market for the purpose of if we can describe ourselves better externally, then we can grow the business. If we can describe ourselves internally to each other, then we can all communicate more effectively. And obviously, this is something that the companies have to evaluate kind of an ongoing basis, especially when you're earlier stage, because your capabilities evolve and the market changes. And so, this update reflects that. And without further ado, Alan, you can take us through the agenda.
Sounds good. So today we're gonna quickly recap where we've been, where we're going. We're gonna then dive into messaging, because as we'll kind of talk about, brand is both a combination of visual and verbal. So if you say brand, people immediately think of logo and colors, which is definitely a big part of it, but it's also how you talk about it. And brand can also, you can do your best to define it, but you can't control it. So brand is really what people say about you when you're not in the room. So you want to influence as much as you can and make sure you're putting out what you want people to say about you, but you can't 100% control it. So we'll go into how we think about the messaging, how we think about the visual. We'll then talk about language, because it's going to be key to all be using the same language going forward. And then we'll talk about where this kind of brand review will go in the next quarter and 6 months. And then we'll end with the sales deck. That's the pitch that our sales team is giving every day, kind of how they tell the story. We try not to pitch in features, we try to pitch in stories, so we'll take you through that story. so you can all understand how we're telling it up front, because the way we tell it up front leads to expectations with onboarding, leads to expectations with service. So we'll go through all that. So let's kick it off. And Ann Casanova, I'm not sure who has met her yet. She's our new director of marketing. She is fantastic, experienced B2B marketer, and she's going to really help us take our marketing to the next level. We've been thinking about our brand and our messaging for a long time, but one of the first things she did when she joined about 2 months ago is just get the lay of the land of what people are saying today. So she talked to people internally, she talked to our existing partners, and she talked to people that said they don't want to work with us to really understand how they think about us and why. And so internally, as you might expect, when you ask someone, hey, what's Boomtown? We have 70 people, we got 70 different responses. It's everything from we're a ticketing system to we do on-site installations, we do whatever you need us to do, we're tech support. Depending on kind of where you worked and your view of the business, that's how people responded to what is Boomtown. So then we said, okay, got it. We need to work on that a little bit. And let's go talk to our existing partners. Hey, what do you guys think we do? Who are we to you? Again, we're pause installs, we're software training. We actually got I don't really know how to describe you, from someone that knows us this is talent actually, from someone that knows us very, very well. And it was because she was conflicted on, I know you don't want me to call you like a certain thing, but I don't know what to call you. So we never gave her the right words to use to tell us what we wanted to be called. We got tech support, ticketing systems, and then a bunch of reasons why people didn't work with us. We don't need to go into all of these right now. But kind of the summary is we have a lot of people saying a lot of different things, and I think historically we haven't been great about really defining who we are and what we want people to think about when they think about Boomtown. And to step back a little bit about where we came from and how we got here, I mean, back in 2014, the message was all about on-demand tech support. It was the Uber for X time period. It was, we're Boomtown. We're kind of, you tap a button, you get the help from all your providers. We had the Uber-like experience in the Boomtown app at the time. Scotty Summershield was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to answer video chats. So we've come a long way from there. 2016, we launched Connect. So now you can answer chat before video, and our branding really switched to the end user first experience. It was really about this new way for the end customer to get support. It's a better experience. It's simple. It's chat. It's video. It's all your providers in one place. And we kind of shifted towards that. In 2017, we did a brand update, visual brand update, not a little bit of messaging, but we shifted back towards telling the value to our partners, but we did so in a way that it was a different value to every different partner depending on who they were. So the ISO story was different than the point of sale story, which is different from the bank story. And you need that to a certain extent, but we went a little bit far. And at the same time, we were creating a lot of sub-brands. So the software we called Relay, the mobile app we called Connect, the dispatching app and the field service app we called Toolbox, the proactive agent we called On-Site Intelligence. So when we were trying to tell the story from a sales perspective, it was getting complicated because we had to first tell the story and then define what all these different sub-projects meant and what they did. So part of the goal of this rebrand was simplification. How can we actually reverse this a little bit, reorganize everything back into our major Boomtown brand, and make it simpler, make the story tighter and easier to tell. So the first thing we did is, okay, all of our sub-brands, can we get rid of them? Can we actually morph back into Boomtown? So now Boomtown stands for something you don't need to explain what all the different sub-brands are in order to tell the story. So we'll talk about this more in the language part, but Relay, due to kind of the simplification as well as some trademark issues, is just going to become Boomtown. The company is the product. Connect is going to go away as well. That's just going to be the Boomtown support app. It's how our customers get help through people that use the Boomtown platform. Toolbox will stay Toolbox. It's a different audience. It's technicians, so we do want a different brand there. And then On-Site Intelligence, which then became Sense, which is now just Proactive. And that leads us to where we ended up, which in 2019 with this rebrand is kind of boiling it down to its simplest components. And two things I want to talk through. One is the tagline, the product support platform, and one is the sentence below it. So starting with the product support platform. When people ask, what is Boomtown? The easiest, quickest way to answer it right now is we're a product support platform. Now, this is a phrase that we made up, so it doesn't mean anything to anyone today. And the goal of marketing over the next 6-12 months is to bring meaning to this product support platform. But the way we define it, and these words are used intentionally, so So we used to say technology a lot more. After talking to a lot of our partners, we realized when they talk about the things they sell and support, they talk about their products. And ISO sells when they sell the things they sell, that's the products I sell. It's not the technologies I sell. So product we use intentionally to align with how our partners are thinking about the things they sell. Support is obviously the backbone of everything we do. We support partners and their customers across the whole journey. We support salespeople in the field for information. We support new customers in their activation and learning a new system. And then we support people on an ongoing basis with fantastic product service. And then we use platform intentionally instead of software or something else, because the platform is bigger than just software. Platform is both software and services. And over time, I think we'll see more companies on the platform, whether it's more field service companies delivering services on our platform, whether it's development companies building apps on top of our platform. We'll see that more and more, so we use that word intentionally as well. And then below you see, so after you say we're a product support platform, the value prop is, well, what does that mean? What do you do? We make it simple to sell, activate, and service technology products. Sell, activate, and service we'll keep coming back to. This ties into the product lifecycle and the customer lifecycle. Every technology product needs to be sold, and that's getting harder and harder to do because it's getting more robust and sophisticated. Every technology product needs to get activated, needs to get turned on, likely needs to get connected to Wi-Fi. Maybe there's a download, maybe there's a login. That's a challenge. And then obviously there's ongoing service. People always have questions, there's new features, there's bugs, so you need to provide great ongoing service to your technology products. So in a single sentence, that is what we do. Now obviously there's a lot to unpack. Even if you say that, people might say, okay, tell me more, and then we can go into the next level of detail.
Right, so as we talked about in the Boomtown Hall, I'm going to just recover some of these quickly because you can see them here, and since we'll be sending this out, you can look at it again. But being a product platform really is about not getting, capturing the fact that it's software and services, that it's not a ticketing system. We can't win being a ticketing system. There's billion-dollar companies that have many more developers than we do, plus we do something unique that they don't, which is provide the services that we do across customer journeys. So very specifically, when asked, Boomtown is a product support platform, and we then get into the how and why. We make it, as Alan said, simple to sell, activate, and service. So things like training and field services are part of the activation life cycle or customer journey. Servicing is obviously what we do through remote service. And saying, look, this is all focused on businesses. It's not people's houses and it's not offices. It's the same customers that we serve today, real world businesses. And our value prop is because we're focused specifically on that area to help solve questions with technology products. Specifically technology products. We're using products as I think Alan mentioned versus technology because that's how our partners refer to it. But saying it's technology means it's different than other support situations. Like, you use Zappos for shoes, there's really only 3 outcomes. You can accept the order, you can exchange the order, or you can return it, right? It's kind of a transactional one-time relationship. With technology products and things like SaaS and internet connectivity, it's an ongoing relationship. And so you have to support it differently. And you need to be able to do it all the time, efficiently, effectively, and affordably. And the key part is really how we do it, which is saying, hey, each of these products, if you keep a central knowledge corpus or data corpus of it, and all of that your channels use it, like say ISOs that sell point would be an ecosystem example. If you have a central place where you're keeping all that knowledge, then you can use AI to connect the dots faster than humans can connect the dots to figure out what the potential solutions might be and present those to either the agent or directly to the end user, which results in faster activations, faster resolutions. And this really is the key to it all in being a product support platform. And that gets into the why Boomtown aspect is, customer support ticketing systems are great for questions like, I have a question about my account. But they're not great for sophisticated technology products where You need to be able to get to an answer quickly because it's mission critical. And traditional ticketing systems take all those interactions and they fragment them, every interaction across multiple customers. And so you simply can't architecturally apply, AI and insights across fragmented records that are organized by customer versus organized as a product record where you can then apply AI to present the right solution based on the product, irrespective of which customer is calling. And that's something that people get, the light bulb really goes on.
So that's kind of high-level overview of the messaging. We're going to do a couple things. We're going to first show you, you may have already seen it, but you may have noticed we launched a new website, goboomtown.com, got a makeover both on everything visual as well as the words and the language and the messaging we use. So we're going to do a quick start. We're going to do a quick review of the new website. And one thing to note, the Think Relay, as we phase out the Relay brand, everything will come back to the Boomtown site. But when you land and go Boomtown, I'll call a couple things visually and a couple things verbally I want to highlight. One is you'll notice the colors. We use a lot of whites and grays. And we use splashes of color, of fairly bold colors to draw attention to certain places. We also use, when it comes to images, we use a lot of, whether it's photography, we try to use humans when possible. If not, we try to use this real-world kind of technology product images that you'll see through here. And then to describe our benefits, we try to use these floating cards. These cards, if you read these in detail, they're all telling a story about the sale, the activation, the service, the dispatching, all the things we do, but told in story form. So it's not just listing features. We're going to be doing a lot more with social proof. We provide a ton of value to our partners, and we historically haven't done a great job of telling the world about how much value we drive. So Anne's been running a project of, we're probably going to have 10 to 12 case studies with some of our largest partners over the next month that will go live and really start to show how people are taking advantage of Boomtown for their specific business. And then this piece, you'll see this reactive, assisted, automated, proactive thing pop up a lot. We call this the support continuum, and this is how we think of our whole business falls into these buckets. This is actually when we build new products, they fall into one of these buckets. Our whole pricing structure falls into these buckets. And the idea is that the reactive side, that's essentially the equivalent of a ticketing system. It allows you to set up kind of an omni-channel support software that kind of you can get all your conversations in one place. It makes it easy to organize and manage everything and respond. It makes it really easy for your customers to get help. So reactive is really the status quo of what you get in the market. We then say, okay, because you support technology products, there's so much more we can do. So the first step is let's get you to assisted. So assisted are all the things that we can do on the platform that help your team be more efficient, whether that's delivering knowledge to them, whether that's accessing services, remote or field, to actually assist your team and allow your team of, call it 4, to work like a team of 10. All those types of features fall into the assisted package. And so even if you want access to our field service network or you want access to 24/7 remote services, you have to be part of the platform on the assisted package. And then automated is the next step. Is once you have this knowledge, these workflows, this data in place, we then help you take that knowledge. And actually, when you get common FAQ questions that you don't want to answer every day, you can just have things like bots automatically answer those questions for you and actually deliver the answer directly to the customer, so you don't have to have this byproduct of bringing it to an agent and then the agent delivers, when it can just be delivered directly. So the agent can actually spend their time on more important conversations, more complex conversations that need a deeper dive. And then finally, proactive is really the holy grail. This is ultimately where we think most of the value lies, and the idea is that you should know problems that are happening before your customer does. And the cool thing is this is only possible if you support technology products. I mean, you can't know that a shoe is offline, a shoe is not even online, so there's no way to ever know. You can't be proactive with general ticketing systems, but when you support technology products, you can be. So I'm not going to go through all this in detail, but you can come through and read through what we mean by all these different stages of the continuum. And then just quickly, I'll cover, actually I'll go through this in the sales deck, but I'll cover kind of 6 points of when people ask why Boomtown, why are you different, which in a sales conversation is something you get in every single call. Okay, why you, why not your competitors? So boiling it down to 6 key things that make us different. One is our product index. And you'll see this, especially with this sprint, we saw 4 or 5 more instances of it, is continuing to build connections and ties and data connections to this universal knowledge, this universal index of technology products. And this is really interesting because this is what allows us to actually do better suggestions and actually provide, kind of take it to the future of where we want it to go. Next, we have artificial intelligence. So because of the product index and the data we have, the artificial intelligence you can actually get smarter because your data is not segmented across a bunch of customer profiles. And when we build products, and especially going forward, we're going to try to think about how we can use AI in every component to make teams' lives easier, more efficient, faster, simpler, whatever it is. Support automation. So using things like bots. With technology, you might get the same, hey, how do I do a password reset? Hey, I got locked out. You don't want to spend your time answering those questions every day. So how do you actually use automation to solve those automatically? And that's something we're focused on solving. Universal knowledge is a big one. Because of all the things mentioned before, and especially the product index, we have a unique ability to because we support tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of locations and products, we have knowledge that people really want to get access to. There's a ton of value there. So the ability to actually kind of organize that in a way and share it across partners is unique to us and no one else can do. Ecosystem engagement. Technology can never really be supported in a silo. I mean, some specific interactions can be, but every piece of technology, every product depends on at least Wi-Fi connectivity, likely third-party integrations, probably peripheral integrations. There's a whole host of things that any given product depends on to be successful. So we're building our platform in a way that makes it really easy to collaborate and work across organizational walls to solve those problems. And then finally, integrated services. We are really the only support platform that offers this today. This is a huge differentiator for us, and in every deal it comes up, and it's really the reason why we win a lot of the deals that we win. I'll cover 2 more things on the website. One is just to reiterate this point, even our pricing packages are tied into these buckets. So when somebody wants to work with us, they have to come into one of these platform packages. And you'll see that the expert network, all of our services are on the assisted package. So they have to buy into the platform on that package before they get access to the services. And then finally, I will show just the integrations page. I think this will get more and more interesting over time. But we're starting to build out, as we integrate to more third-party systems, whether it's for transferring data across systems to bring everything in one place, whether it's integrating more communication channels like phone or social, whether it's bringing in email from other channels or communications like Slack, or even things like Zapier. We're going to launch our Zapier integration next spring, and that's going to unlock thousands of potential integrations that we can use in our platform, which is now, it opens up a whole host of new opportunities for things we could do that we previously couldn't. And things like TeamViewer, making it really easier to launch a TeamViewer session directly from the issue. The whole goal is to bring everything that you need to provide great product support into one place. So it comes to you rather than you going to having to go find it. And I'll pause there on the website. Feel free to explore. Let me know if you have any questions. There's a lot there you can click through. So now switching gears. Let me take a sip of water. So with this new brand, we've never had formal brand guidelines before. So I personally am very excited about this because this is how, as we grow and as we scale up, this is how we create consistency. And like I said before, brand is both visual and verbal. So we're trying to address both. This is primarily focused on the visual. So we're going to get very consistent with how we do all of our public-facing marketing materials. So we can create this consistent look and feel. So every time someone sees it, they'll say, oh, that looks like Boomtown. That looks familiar. So I'm going to run through this pretty quick, but I'll send it as a follow-up in an email so everyone can take a look through. But in a nutshell, we spent a lot of time thinking about how we want people to think about us. And it really boils down to these 3 buckets. I'll say one is an overarching umbrella of we want people to think about us as insightful, really being helpful to solve problems. And then you break that down, and it goes into two buckets, and we call these archetypes for our brand. So we break them down to what's called the regular and the sage. And these are two kind of made-up personalities of how we want our brand to come off to people. The regular is on one side, we want our brand to be approachable. We're fun people, we're approachable, we're easy to work with, we're not stuffy, we want people to think that they can work with us, and it's really easy to get started, easy to get help. So that's kind of 40% of our brand. We want people to have that feeling. And the other part is at the same time, we want people to view us as experts. So we have the knowledge, we have the insights. Our goal is to help you solve problems that are really hard. And so we're trying to balance, and this whole brand refresh was trying to balance these two feelings of, we want to be the experts, but if you go too far to that spectrum, you're not approachable, you're not accessible. You feel like you're distant, it's hard to get in touch with. So we balance that kind of intellectual side with the regular side, the approachability. I'm not going to go through all the attributes, but that's kind of the high-level umbrella, and we try to focus that mostly on the sales process. Where are we trying to sell? And that's really, we're selling to executives, we're selling to kind of mid-level, VP level, director level support, people that oversee teams. We're selling to operations teams, technology organizations. So we're trying to tailor the message and the brand for those people. Excuse me. So diving into the logo, where did it come from? Really three components. So the logo is made up of three chevrons. The chevron concept came from that support continuum. It came from the concept of the shift from being reactive to being proactive. And so this left to right, this shift, you'll see the chevron appear in a lot of our materials, and it keeps coming back as we go back to the chevron and this left to right concept to tie back to the continuum. We then combine that with the relay concept, the ecosystem concept, the ability to share and collaborate, so we're not siloed, we're actually a big ecosystem. You put those two things together and you get the composition of our icon that we created, which is these three chevrons in this circular pattern, which represent both the kind of reactive to proactive as well as the relay. And they also stand for the customer journey. It's the sale, activate, and service component of any given customer journey. So a bunch of details about how the logo is created, all the refinements about the logo. We've got a version with a tagline and a version without. Whenever we're using the logo on publicly available marketing materials, it needs to have the tagline for a legal dispute we have. Otherwise, for internal stuff, we can use it without the tagline. We've got black and whites. We've got icon onlys. Again, you can review all this. The color palette. So we went, as you have noticed, with a pretty bold orange. We're calling it Tango. We did that intentionally. Orange is kind of a polarizing color. Some people hate it. Some people love it. But it stands out. So you put it up on a wall with 100 other people in the general customer service space, and most people are blues. Blue is the easy, opinionless color. So it blends in. Orange stands out. So we did it intentionally. That being said, we don't use it a lot. So we use orange for the icon. We use orange for primary buttons on our website and small details here and there. Primarily, we're going to use this teal color that we call Java. And that's what we use in the product, on UI screens, on call-out boxes, and then almost every other color is a shade of white, gray, black. And we do have secondary colors, greens, yellows, reds, and purples, but again, those are used sparingly as secondary colors when we need accents. Typography, for those who care. On the website, we use Campton as our primary title font. We use Proxima Nova as body copy. But for anything that we do, like Word templates, PowerPoint slides, anything that we're going to share and multiple people we'll edit, we will always default to Arial. Because Arial is a common font, everybody has it, you don't get multiple fonts in a document, makes it really easy.
So this is one of those things you start doing now.
Yeah.
Like all of our external, internal communication should follow this typography guideline.
Yeah, so when in doubt, if you're picking between Open Sans or Calibri, go to Arial. Arial is our default for everything. And we'll talk about in a minute when we have collateral. We have templates saved, master PowerPoint saved. They have it all set as default, so we'll send those around as well. So I'm not going to go through this, but we also have a kind of deeper dive guidelines about creating graphics. In order to retain this consistency, we've got to create things that look and feel the same. So how we do blur effects, rounded corners, product images, featured images, all of our icons and illustrations, blog posts, headers. We're going to send this deck around afterwards so you can all take a look. But mostly for the marketing people and our content teams, just to make sure everything we put out there looks and feels the same going forward. Pause there for a second. And we'll open it up for questions at the end, so if anyone has questions, you can answer them. And so all of that to kind of say, now that Ann joined us, Ann is really going to help us refine and maintain a consistent brand, both visually and verbally. So part of what we've done is we created a company-wide folder called the Intranet, where you can access all of our logos, all of our color palettes, master templates, anything like that. We'll send that around. If you don't have access, you can let us know. You should. You can send that around after the call. If you need anything, if you're looking for a logo and can't find it, if you're looking for the color palette or need a one-pager for any reason, we have a marketing channel in Slack. You can ping us. Ann or I will respond. You can also go to goboomtown.com/brand. You can download all the logos, the colors, and the brand guideline template from there. And if you ever have questions about what to use or what not to use, ask those questions too, because we want to make sure we're being consistent.
So one of the harder things is going to be making sure that we all speak the same language, because we all get in habits of using terminology to describe our products and who customers are. And so a big part of this effort is basically upgrading our language and making sure that we're all consistent about it. This is a sheet that many people in Tiburon have printed out. We actually have a dollar jar. If you hear the word, the dollar gets put in, used for treats and beverages at the end of the week. There's another way to try to get habits to break. It's hard. It's a process. But some of the key ones here that I do want to call out. So again, as we're communicating externally, we're communicating internally. We're all saying the same thing. So as you may know, part of the with the sub brands like Relay, it's confusing to customers. So like any enterprise software company, the name of the company is the software. You go to Salesforce, you log into Salesforce. You get access to services through the software. So Relay is being phased out. You'll still see on the product because of dealing with partners that use it on a standalone basis. But for your own habits, I would start personally not using it anymore. Same with the other sub brands that Alan had mentioned earlier. So things like Connect, it's just the Boomtown support app, or it's Boomtown on point. Toolbox is the one that's the remaining toolbox. It's a different audience. And things like Web Connect, customers really never understood it. It's just web chat. So just say web chat. Relay Proactive, or RPA. It's not Relay. There's no Relay Proactive. It's just proactive. No need to use acronyms on it either. One that affects certainly field services is end-of-lifing the term brigade, and starting to use the same terminology we use externally when we're doing marketing or talking to investors, which is the Boomtown Expert Network that consists of technicians. So things like that newsletter need to start saying, the community letter needs to start saying Boomtown Expert Network versus brigade. And frankly, I think will be well received by the technicians. I'd rather be an expert than a member of the brigade. So there's those in the software. I'm not going to hit all of these. We already have, but maybe some definitions. So AI is much better understood than machine learning, so we're going to be consistent on that. Things in the software like devices or products. Definitely not a ticketing system, as we've talked about. It's a product support platform. Swipe is an old term. That's from 2 versions of Connect ago. Doesn't exist. People tap on mobile apps. So if they're coming in on the Boomtown Support app, they've tapped in. We use the word swipe externally. No one knows what we're talking about. Let's see. The bottom one, issues. This is on here for consideration. Ultimately, we need to change it. This is not one you need to change in your vocabulary today. But issues kind of has a negative connotation, and so thinking of something else. We're not going to use cases or tickets because they're not a ticketing system. But encourage and love feedback on other suggestions. The best suggestion so far is events, but would love any feedback. Eventually, all this, and some of it already has rolled through into the software. So dictionaries already, product index, product records. That's already done, and we'll continue to move down through this with regularity through the releases. Finally, merchants were not a term that any of our customers actually use to describe themselves. My wife would choose a retailer, did not call herself a merchant. It's very payment specific. They're the customer. We get to the customer through partners. So we collect money from partners who have end customers, and those customers are real world businesses. We talked about before. Some of these other things on this side matter a little bit less. But how we segment partner sizes, enterprise, an ISO that sells points, probably a small business partner in terms of their size. But some of the partner-facing teams are going to be consistent in how they're named. So you'll see things like customer success change to partner success, account management is going to be partnerships, business development is going to be partner development. So as we mentioned, I'm teed off of it on the term merchant. The product support platform, the great thing is we can increase our total available market, or TAM. We can serve a lot more partner types that serve the same real world business customers. And we need to extend beyond just payment companies because of all the consolidation that's happened in the space and independent software vendors or ISVs. And so, programs like the VAR program or value added reseller program, there's 25,000 of those at least in the U.S. So it allows us to pursue, the product support platform story allows us to pursue a much broader set of potential partnerships, which in turn allow us to grow the business. This is the kind of net takeaway from the slide. On the right side are all things that we're thinking about. SMB banking, given the Capital One relationship, probably being top of the list, and then taking things like the case study from Rectangle and pursuing other provider side healthcare companies that have physician management kind of capabilities we'll be doing as well. So we'll be kind of working our way through this list over the near and far future.
And so this exercise, this brand exercise, is hopefully, unlike what we've done the last couple of years, is every 2 years we pick our head up and look around and say, I think we need to update this, and then we update it and go back to business. We're going to try to be a little bit more evolutionary with this. So weekly, we're talking to teams, we're getting feedback, what's resonating, what's not. On a quarterly basis, we will review our whole brand overview and make sure we're updating things that are not relevant, changing language as we need to. And then on a biannual basis, we're going to be doing this meeting. So just a refresher, hey, what has our mission changed? Has our kind of language changed? Does our visuals change? So we'll make that part of the process going forward. Okay, so we've got 15 or so minutes left. What we're going to do now is actually flip over to the sales deck. Part of the cool thing with organizing everything back under the Boomtown and having a single product support platform is that now when you get asked what is Boomtown, you don't have to wait, you don't have to ask them what they do to figure out how you can help them. We now have a single unified story that we tell to every partner that we engage. And so this is our standard sales deck that we use, whether it's an ISO or a POS company or a VAR or a bank. We shifted from really a kind of a feature sales model to a story sales model. So we're trying to tell more stories about why we exist and why it's important and why people should care. So I'm going to take 10, 15 minutes, go through this deck pretty quickly. There's a lot to cover here, but I'll try to hit on the main points, just so you understand kind of how sales is positioning us, because I think this is a pretty good story for kind of how it flows through everything we do and everything we touch. So we often start out with our mission and why we exist, and that's really to make it simple to sell, activate, and service technology products. And we can dive into more detail, some of the stuff we talked about earlier of what that actually means. This is usually just a set the stage slide that we use. And then we kick off the story. And so at a macro level, you look at the evolution of technology since the 60s, and there's been some major changes from mainframe to servers to cloud to mobile. And with each major change, new companies pop up. You solve problems and you create problems. And the types of companies that exist shift. And so one major macro trend that we believe is happening is that every company is actually becoming a technology company. And we're seeing companies in the industries like automobiles and hotels and banks that historically have been anti-technology, and now they're driven by technology. Either existings have totally changed their strategic priorities to become tech companies, or new markets have popped up, like an Airbnb taking on the hotel industry. Tech-first companies have popped up to challenge the legacy way of thinking. And so the macro trend, we believe that every company is becoming a technology company. And as part of that, the world is getting more connected. It's driven by APIs, by connected devices, and AI is becoming a more of a part of everyday conversation. And we think that's great for us because we help technology companies. And this, as the world shifts, there's this new challenge is emerging. Because when you support, as Chip said earlier, when you support something like shoes, you sell your shoes, and then you either keep them or you send them back. And that's really the end of the relationship. And then maybe you sell more. But when you sell a technology product, it's totally different. There's now a customer life cycle. There's now a journey. You need to sell it, and it's getting harder and harder to sell because there's more features. Once you sell it, you need to make sure they actually use it. They got to activate it. They got to turn it on. They have to connect it to a network. They've got to install a plugin. They've got to do a whole bunch of things, and that might be really hard to do. And then you've got to service it. There's going to be bugs. There's going to be updates. There's going to be new features. So it's this nonstop evolution of helping customers get through the sale, activate it, start servicing. If you do that all well, the hope is you can sell them more. So when you sell technology products, especially on a recurring revenue basis, which is where everybody's going, you get into this world that gets much harder to do than just supporting a consumer goods product. And what we've seen happen is from this, it's taking longer to close deals because people have more options, they have more complexity to consider. Call times, handle times are going up. There's more third-party integrations. Now you have to deal with things like wireless network connectivity. So the average handle time has gone up by 20%. There's more just general volume coming in. There's more questions. You push an update that breaks something, every one of your customers calls you. Now your volume's off through the roof. I mean, we've seen this with a number of our partners. And then at the same time, while all these challenges are happening, expectations are going up. We live in a world where everything's on demand, everything's at a tap of a button, and people expect fast call times. They expect answers via social. So, and when they don't get it, their satisfaction goes down. So with this technology shift, it's actually getting much harder to provide great customer experiences. And part of the problem is the legacy systems. They're just not built for this world. As you saw in the first slide, they were built Zendesk was built when cloud became a thing. It's been around for 10 plus years. And so they're building for the old world, and they're not built and architected fundamentally for this new world, which is take data and knowledge from all these different places, insights from everything going on, and actually bring it into one place and help the team actually get what they need, deliver it to the person that needs the right answer at the right time. And so we looked at this problem, and we said, okay, when you look at it from a customer view, which is how a ticketing system looks at it, you have all these separate teams involved in this customer journey. You have your sales team, they work out of Salesforce. You have your activation team, maybe they're emailing or they're using Excel or Trello. And then once the customer's onboarded, you have a ticketing system and maybe a knowledge base to service your customers. But then your product team is actually totally off somewhere else. They're working out of Jira, they're doing their own thing. So by segmenting this data in all these different systems and just looking at this customer record, which is broken across all these different systems, you actually never get a holistic view of your customer. So we said, okay, what is the holistic piece? And it was actually pretty clear when we looked at it. It's the product. Whether you're selling it, you're activating it, you're servicing it, or you're updating it, it's all the same product across all your customers. So we said, okay, that's actually pretty cool. Let's focus on that. So that's where the product record came from and why that's becoming such an integral piece of everything we do. Because the product record is the piece that connects all these bespoke and siloed pieces of data and teams together into one thing. By tying everything back to the product record, this is what allows us to provide better knowledge, better insights, and overall better customer experiences. And so with this shift to this focus on the product record, you look at this shift from being a ticketing system to being a product support platform. And excuse me, ticketing systems, because they're siloed or with their customer records broken apart, they're more interaction-based. They're fragmented journeys. Things are siloed. Knowledge is siloed. It's much more reactive in nature. But as we shift towards a focus on the product record, you can actually look at entire customer experiences and holistic journeys. You can get more conversational, and you can shift from being completely reactive to actually being proactive in how you provide support. And with things like AI built in, your system can learn over time. So the more data you put in, the smarter it gets. So in summary, your system can act like your product is going to evolve. And so the system you use to support your product should evolve as your product itself evolves. And that's really what we're building here. And so Boomtown enables our partner organizations to deliver better customer experiences. And when you break it down into some basic building blocks, it's first, you got to help them orchestrate. You got to make it really easy for the customer to get help. So whatever channel they want to use, make it easy to ask questions and get knowledge. You then, once those questions come in, you need to make sure that the team supporting those customers has the knowledge they need to provide fast answers. So you need the tools to make every one of your team members a product expert, which is hard to do. And the only way to do that is better systems. You can't just, like when we were talking to Verifone, and they give their new hires a 600-page PDF on their VX520, and they say, okay, take a couple months and memorize this. Like that's not the path forward. Automation. So as the number of questions goes up and as the complexity of questions goes up and things take longer to solve, the only way to keep your head above water is to use things like automation. Get the low value, frequently asked questions off your plate so you can focus on the hard problems. And then finally, make it really easy to work together, because in supporting technology products, you can't solve things in a silo. Sometimes you can, but oftentimes you need to work with third parties. And we have to enable that and make that really easy to do. And from doing this, and we'll go through some case studies in a minute, but we've seen dramatic results from our partners. People activate their product faster, their NPS goes up, they retain customers longer, their teams are more efficient, and overall they've saved a lot of money. And how do we do this? It's really helping people shift from being reactive to ultimately being proactive. So we help them get everything in one place. We help them get the knowledge in the right place to make it really easy for their teams. We then take all the data and knowledge they've aggregated and help them automate the FAQs. And then finally, proactive monitoring of all their products in the field so they can solve issues before they become problems. Sorry, I've talked too much today.
Yeah. So give Voice a break. So healthcare ISV, obviously externally we don't say who this is, but it's Rectangle. And their previous provider said they had a 44-minute average handle time. Well, I've looked in the last little bit. It looks like that's down by about 75%, which is huge. And kudos to you all for accomplishing that. But these are, as well as a huge increase in Net Promoter Score, which for them means it's a proxy for net revenue retention. And so these are massive results for Rectangle. And these kinds of case studies are really, really valuable in helping people understand our value proposition. This is Elevon, specifically around the activation part of the customer journey, and through the combination of the software and our service capabilities, huge reduction in time to activate. I've heard actually numbers of 28 days, and so again, massive increases in productivity. So what this doesn't account for is pre-activation churn, which means someone says they buy it, but they never activate it because it took too long. And this means that end customer is using their product faster and are happier, and the partner is earning revenue more quickly, getting the revenue achievements. So these are a big deal. On Point, so we know with the Boomtown support app on Point, shifting conversations into ones that can be more automated based on the application they're using, based on the problem, and generally it results in a much better experience. So most, particularly when you're behind the counter at one of these places, it's hard to be on the phone. If you can have an asymmetrical conversation that picks up when the customer leaves and you can engage back in it, is a big deal. And that's why the NPS goes up. Because if I can start a conversation, leave it, and come back, that customers come in the store, that's a big deal to me. This is Paya, related to the Verifone outage. And what was cool was the fact that since our team and their team were both on the same software, we were able to actually help them. And given that we have product experts, we're able to solve a big challenge for them on merchants going dark, which means they couldn't collect their own revenue. So save them a lot of attrition by virtue of our capabilities.
And normally this is the point in the deck, we would switch into a live demo. So we show the automation experience, we show the agent experience, we show the insights we can provide. But I will send this sales deck afterwards, which goes into a bunch of the key features we talk about. So feel free to peruse through that and let us know if we have any questions, if you have any questions. And so that kind of summarizes, that's all we wanted to cover today. I know we covered a lot in about 55 minutes. Hopefully it was digestible. And we'll pause here for a minute. If anybody has any questions for us or comments, concerns, we'll open it up.
Awesome. Thanks for that. You guys have a question? I'm getting a whole bunch of head nods.
Very well delivered.
Very well delivered. I don't know if you heard that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Cool. Well, no questions.
For this, and I will send out the recorded copy to the folks that couldn't make it, and let them know they can just email you guys or email Alan or whoever if they have any questions.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I will follow up with the deck we went through, the sales deck, the brand guidelines, a couple of links, and the recording link. And then, yeah, feel free to take a look and let us know if anything comes up.
Awesome. Thanks again for this.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Bye.
You too. Bye.